Okay, guys, so I'm going to introduce to you PT1, which is our first performance task. Um, and so, performance task one consists of two tasks: the independent research report and the team multimedia presentation. I am going to discuss both of these and how they look so that you have an understanding of what the expectations are. First, let's go over the rubrics and let's look at the rubric for the IRR. So you have 6 categories that you will be scored on with a max pointage of 20, 30 points. Okay, so you have understand and analyze context, you have understand and analyze argument, evaluate sources and evidence, understand and analyze perspective, apply conventions, and apply conventions continue. Okay, and we'll talk more about those expectations. We're going to go through the rubric one by one. Okay, so the understand and analyze, we're always going to go for the proficient and and the approaching mastery. So let's look at what those expectations are. Okay. So the expectations for, let's go back. The expectations for the IRR are that your report identifies adequately an adequately focused area of investigation in the research and shows some variety in source selection. It makes some reference to the overall problem or issue. And then to get a 6, you need to make sure that your report situates the student's investigation of the complexities of the problem or issue in research that draws upon a wide variety of appropriate sources and makes clear the significance to a larger context. Okay, so the things that we need to focus on here is that you need to make sure that your report situates the investigation of the complexities of the problem or issue in the research and draws upon a wide variety of appropriate sources and makes clear the significance to a larger context. Okay, and I'll explain what they mean by that in just a second. The next category is the understand and analyze argument. And to get the highest scores in this category, you need to make sure that your report demonstrates an understanding of reasoning and validity of sources, arguments. So you're evaluating the sources and making sure that they are the arguments that they're making are credible and applicable to your research report. This evidence can be direct evidence. This can be evidenced by direct explanation or through purposeful use of reasoning and conclusion. So what they're talking about here is basically in-text citation or embedded quotes here. All right, so the report, make sure it's doing that. Report, understanding, validity of sources. Evidence can be direct explanation through purposeful use and reasoning. So this, to get a proficient, would be the report summarizes information and places and offers effective explanation of reasoning within the source's argument, but does so inconsistently. So what we're looking for is that you are able to incorporate the evidence and make sure that your claims, evidence, and reasoning are all aligned. So you have a good line of reasoning here. The evaluate sources. The report demonstrates evaluation of credibility of sources and selection of relevant evidence from sources. Both can be evidenced by direct explanation or through purposeful use. Again, that's either you're using your commentary or you have embedded the quote in a way that is obvious what the use of that certain piece of evidence is. So the next one is understand and analyze perspective. The report discusses a range of perspectives and draws explicit and relevant connections among those perspectives. Not only do you have several perspectives on your topic, but you show how they are relevant and connect. Okay. And then finally, there are two main scores for apply conventions. So does the report attribute and accurately cite the sources used? Okay, so what that means is when you're attributing, do you have them, when you're embedding the quotes, do you reference them correctly? Do you have your in-text citation? And then the bibliography also has to be formatted correctly too. So you need to make sure that you are doing the consistent style for not only the bibliography, but your embedded quotes. All right, so here we go here. The second one, the report communicates clearly to the reader, although may not be free of errors in grammar and style. The written style is consistently appropriate for academic audience. And this is important. So basically what it's saying is you can get a high score here and not be perfect, but are you also writing for the appropriate audience? So the purpose of this paper is to communicate to educated individuals. Okay, everything you're doing is supposed to be, think of your audience as educated persons. Okay, so you need to make sure that you are writing for them. So this is not for your friends, this is not for family. It needs to be in academic style and format. So your word choice, your diction, your syntax are important here. All right, so let's look at something that we need to reference. All right, so something that you need to be aware of: a 0 can be assigned to a single row of the rubric when the response displays below minimum level quality identified in each row. For rows 1 through 4, if there is no evidence of any research, if it's all opinion, there's nothing in the bibliography, there's nothing in your paper that references sources, there are no in-text citations, you can get a 0. Okay, scores of 0 are assigned to all rows when the response is off topic, a repetition of the prompt, entirely crossed out, drawing or other markings, or is in a response other than English. And you can also get a no response, which is also a 0. Okay, so also keep in mind this applies in areas of the plagiarism, so you need to be aware of this, not only in your paper, but also this can go to your team multimedia presentation. Remember that if there is plagiarism in any of the components on the team multimedia presentation, the whole team gets a 0 in that particular component. So it needs to be said that we need to be very aware in citing our sources when we're doing this. All right, so here's the rubric for the TMP. We have establish argument, understand and analyze context, engage audience, the design part, and collaboration and reflect. So you can get a max points of 8, 14, 20, 22? Yeah, 22, I think. I think that's 4, 8, 14, 22, 28? Whatever. I'm tired. I can't do math today. So, establish argument. So, you can get 6 points here. And I'll explain to you the difference between the IRR and the TMP. The IRR is a research report. So it will be something that is used to establish the team argument. The TMP is an argument and is a presentation that is presenting the argument that the team is coming up with. So in order to earn a 6, the team's presentation conveys a convincing argument for the team solution and resolution through strategic selection of supporting evidence. Okay. The next thing you need to do is understand and analyze context, which is evaluate your solutions. So some of you in your presentations did this where you gave your limitations and implications. All right. So you present the pros and cons of your solution, your potential options that you are talking about, okay, that are possible. But then you talk about the limitations and implications of each, including your own. Engage audience, the performance. Now, I know some of you chose not to use your screens. It's not going to give you a good score because you need to be on screen so that you can connect with the audience. And you can do that simply by looking at the camera. And it's easier for you because you're not looking at anybody. Okay, so we need to get into the habit of connecting to the audience, being on screen when we're presenting, using good presentation skills, making sure that you are using vocal variety, you're not reading the slides, things like that. All right, so that's how you get a 6. The design. The design is clearly designed to guide the viewers through the presentation. It demonstrates a strategic selection of media design elements that can help clarify the argument for the team solution. So it's not a whole bunch of text. The media helps enhance the text, so the speech that you are giving. So it shouldn't be all on your slide. You should be speaking it, and so the presentation should be an anchor for the audience to follow along. So it should be keywords, images, statistics, short bullet points, not whole sentences, things of that nature. You may have an audio clip, a short one, because you are limited by time and it needs to be you presenting. You could have some kind of video image, a GIF, but something that enhances your actual presentation and does not distract from what the purpose you're trying to do, with what you're trying to convince the audience to understand or believe. Okay, so the next one is the collaborate and reflect. And at the end of the TMP, I will ask each individual in the group a question. And the questions are designed to see, one, how did y'all get to this point in your project? So reflecting on everything you did, how the process went, things you may want to change for next time. All right. The other thing the collaborate and reflect is looking at is to see if you guys know what each other did. You all work collaboratively, and you can talk about what each person added to the group's effort. So we're looking for 2 things: you understanding and reflecting on your process of researching and writing papers and presenting and creating a cohesive and effective argument, and how well you work with your group. Okay, so those are 2 things. And so those questions, which I have offered to you there in the Fall PT1, are designed that way to ask and get you to answer those questions. All right. So let's go to what the actual IRR and TMP are. Okay, what is PT1 asking you to do? So what does that look like? It is basically, you are a house of cards, or you could look at yourself as a group of puzzle pieces. Either way, it works. So if we're looking at this as a group of cards, each of you has, as a group, you come up with a topic that you want to come up with an argument about. All right. And each individual member is responsible for researching or researching some perspective of it. Okay, so let me just give you an example. So let's say I'm in a group and I have convinced my group that we are going to come up with an argument about the Golden Girls. All right, because why not? All right. And so my research question is going to be, is the Golden Girls overrated? Okay, is this debatable? Absolutely. Is this simple and focused? Yes, absolutely. Is this researchable with credible sources? Now, I can find credible sources to apply to this that talk about how shows are ranked and rated, and how do film and TV researchers evaluate sources or figure out if evaluate films and TV, or how they come up with a ranking system, and what they deem as high ranking shows and what qualifies as such. And then I could talk about examples and evidence of episodes and how Golden Girls aligns with that. Yes, I can do that. Are there alternative perspectives? Yes, probably designing women fans, and they are trash, but whatever. Then I said it and I meant it. Okay, just FYI.